A little later, my son came running in, saw the shiny can on the table, and reached for it. He ended up dumping the whole can on the floor. My sister was pissed that her drink had been wasted. She looked at me and said I should clean up after my kid, but I replied, "Dad told you it would get knocked over. You should have moved it." My dad made my sister clean up the mess, which pissed her off even more. After that, she kept quietly making derogatory comments about my son to other family members, thinking that I couldn't hear them. I let the first few go, but after she called my son retarded to one of our cousins, so I'd had enough. I confronted her and told her that if she had something to say about me or my son, she could man up and say it to my face. She did get in my face and began screaming and cussing at me, saying that she wasn't surprised that my child turned out special and that it was a good thing that my first 3 kids died because I would have screwed them up too. I completely lost my shit. I don't think she was expecting me to retaliate because I punched her right in the face, and she went down hard. I'm not a violent person at all, but I do have limits, and I am fiercely protective of my son. I told her, it was a good thing that you don't have a child because no one would like to be born inheriting your garbage personality. Her jaw dropped. My dad and 2 of my cousins stepped in and broke us up. My mom dragged my sister off into another room and began screaming at her for saying such horrible things about my son. I went outside with my cousins to cool off, and while talking to them, my brother-in-law came out to apologize on behalf of my sister. I told him I appreciated it but didn't want an apology from him, only one from my sister. He mentioned that he thought my sister might be jealous of my son because he is the only grandchild, and now there has been a shift in the dynamic between her and my parents. That made perfect sense to me. With them doting on my son constantly, there was no room for them to spoil her. I took my son home shortly after all of this occurred. Honestly, I don't care if I ever see my sister again. I feel bad for ruining my parents' party, which they worked so hard on. Am I the astronaut for punching my sister?